broadcast isn't showing up.
Oh. Well, OBS is always a joy, and I'm glad we got that issue squared away before.
Yeah.
You gotta always knock the rust off. You gotta always knock the rust off, and you know, we got a few moments until we bring everything back. So what do you say we once again welcome everybody in here? We get ready for the starting lineup here for tonight's race. Glad we got that figured out before everything absolutely died, unfortunately. But welcome to tonight's broadcast of race number 10 here at the Fuel Hyperspeedway for the Fuel Superspeedway Series. Trey Wright and Caleb Rose on the call now that we are live and ready to roll here. Field waiting for Vincenzo Focusato to be on the board. You know what, Caleb? I'm glad at least we got that squared away before we went before the race started. It didn't end up being a Bristol situation, but fortunately, we are live finally. It's been a while. It's been 9 weeks since we've broadcasted here on the North American Sim Racing Network. But now, as we wait for the pole sitter of Vincenzo Focusato to come on,
drivers,
here he is.
Start your engines!
And the command has been given to fire the engines. Vincenzo Focusato, one of 3 drivers fighting for the championship. Taking a look at the championship standings at the bottom of your screen. Trek Togger in the 60s, starts on the outside of row number 4 in 8th. And Taylor Stallworthy, that neon yellow Dodge and that 90 machine, starts on the outside of row number 2 in 4th. Take a look at the rest of the field rolling off, and it is going to be a fantastic race here tonight. It always is, Caleb, and these super speedway races are always fun to watch.
Absolutely. Here we go.
We follow along with that Best Water Technology number 37 machine. The Pontiac pace car down the pit lane as Barney the Flagman will lead the field. Will drop the green flag as Focusato leads the field at the race's restart zone. The Geico restart zone, I should say. Green flag is in the air. We already got 2 cars going sideways. It's Jason Stereo and Tyler Stallhood, and the caution flag is out immediately. We didn't even get to the green flag.
And off rip.
Well, if that's not an omen on how this race is gonna go, I really don't know what will be.
Oh, boy.
As Stereo did not get going on first glance, and that was Stallhood was caught up in that as well. And that is not the start to the race that we envision these guys having. As Crystal Bennett actually was the first one to the start-finish line. Well, that's one way to start an event, Caleb.
Maybe not the preferred way, but and like you said, definitely a way to start the event of all time, I would suppose.
Certainly is. Focusato will lead them back to the caution flag. And we'll take a look at the replay here in just a brief moment. As Stereo, he is still struggling to get control of his automobile. And we'll take a look and see what happened here in a brief moment. Actually, while we do that, we have our ticker to try and reset. So we'll do that, a little bit behind the scenes work here live as we typically do. It's been a while, folks. It's been a while since we've used this ticker in any regard. So we'll go ahead, turn the lap count on, and that is all fine and dandy. But now, looking at this once again, yeah, Stereo just did not get going, and yeah, Stallhood, wrong place, wrong time for that Valvoline number 7, and again, there was just nothing these guys could do, and kind of reminds me of the start of the US 500. Of course, it wasn't nearly as aggressive and dangerous as that, but still, it's a bad omen for the start of the race that you really don't want. We're going to get into a look at this before we'll get you back to the restart, but that's not what you want, especially if you're Jason Stereo.
Yeah, definitely a tough start to the night there for Stereo and Stahl. I don't know if it might have been maybe some cold tires there for the 96, but yeah, just a tough start there for those two. Have to see if they can turn things around here as we get into the race, but yeah, definitely not the start that you want.
It absolutely isn't. It's a tough break for both of those drivers, but Vincenzo Focasato leading the field out of the pit lane. A couple of drivers coming in and out of the pits. There's a good look at that 02 machine. Connor Edwards. 15 drivers starting on the grid. RJ Bishop coming out. And though we didn't show it during the actual show itself, as Taylor Stallworthy, I believe, stayed out on that 90 machine. Indeed, they did. Though we didn't show it during the actual broadcast before we went live, and a big shout out to RJ Bishop for DMing us on Discord saying, hey, you guys kind of need to hit the live button. Don't forget to hit the live button. Again, OBS is very finicky with this, as we get a good look at that number 48 machine. Stallworthy is going to remain out there in that 90 machine. Again, you get a good look at the banking here at the Fuel Hyperspeedway. The pace car can barely hold on. These guys going maybe 70 miles an hour. And 90 miles an hour just on the pace. Again, you look at this is a race analysis here. We're going to see these guys come down the pit lane a lot here tonight with the 13 to 18 laps on a full tank of gas. In a 55-lap race, that is certainly a lot. But again, you look at that variable banking, 30 degrees is the very least, and 45 degrees up by the wall is the very most. We're approaching talking about an obtuse angle at that point. It is just a ridiculous amount of banking, Caleb, and part of the reason why you saw on there tire wear is not going to be a main concern. It's just going to be about conserving fuel. We joked about it in the pre-race that, hey, it's fitting that this is the Fuel Hyperspeedway because they're going to be using a lot of fuel and they're going pretty hyper fast.
Yeah, definitely. Like I was talking about pre-race, a lot of factors going into this race, especially just with the track itself. As Bowen Fisher in the 20 goes around, you're under pacing. You're talking about those turns, especially steep. And he might have just bit the 20 there a little bit. That's a fortunate break there for him.
Oh, we'll take a quick look and see what happened to Fisher. I'm not sure if Daly just checked up or if Bowen just lost. Oh, he hit the yellow mark there on the 20, and he just went sideways. Fortunately, he didn't get run over by Tyler Stallhood, but that's going to be a couple positions lost there for that Polaroid 20, and that's a rough situation for them.
Yeah, you were talking about that 45-degree banking. That's just how steep this is.
Again, you get a good look of it right here on our cam, right at the the bottom of the banking. Again, it's just, I've never seen a track like this have banking quite like this. It is certainly a unique facility. And again, we are 4 laps into tonight. We're going to get this race restarted on lap number 5, but your top 5 going back through the Geico restart zone. Stallworthy, Togger, Carrillo, Focasato, and Durbin. Back through the gears we go. Green flag in the air. Let's see if we can make it to the start-finish line this time. And we indeed will be able to, I believe. Yes, we will, as RJ Bishop will make it to the end. I don't see Jason Stereo. Oh, no, Stereo started on the outside lane. My apologies there on that Andy Houston-inspired number 96 machine. Here on lap number 5, all the way to the bottom is Keon Daly. This track, the way the banking is set up, it reminds me a lot of Darlington, where you've got The lower part of the banking, that's 30 degrees, that's where you're typically supposed to run, and then you've got all that runoff that's kind of being able to be used as a little bit of a pull-off area. But everybody just runs on the top part, and you've got just two very weird degrees of banking. We can see potentially 6 or 7 wide as Togger and Stolworthy fighting for the race lead with Focusato, 2 cars behind them. Rio driving on that outside lane in that number 2 machine, that Brad Keselowski-inspired Ford Mustang, trying to find a ledge down. A Stolworthy will go to the point in that Juicy Fruit Dodge.
Already seeing all these guys just absolutely ripping around here. We already got 245. I'm sure if these guys really start getting formed up, we'll see speeds even above that. Focusato there in the 37, third in line's already up to 250 miles an hour. Goodness, this track is definitely quite the beast to tame, but these guys are keeping it clean here so far since that restart. And we got quite the big pack up here at the front, being led there by the 90 of Taylor Stolworthy. On the prod there in the 74, kind of got stuck there on the outside. He's dropping back quite a bit as everybody is lined up right now here on the inside.
6 cars on the line, and now just as we say that, Carrillo's going to jump to the inside of that 90. Focusato will go with him. Now everybody will jump down low, and Stolworthy will get hung out to dry. Here's Bowen Fisher going all the way down to the grass.
All the way to the grass.
Not sure how tight they're going to get off of the corner. That's right in front of Dunlop-Prod. And Fisher nearly lagging up in that Lazarus 74. We're 3 wide going into 3. That nearly ended in disaster for that Polaroid number 20. But now it's Gustavo Carrillo who will go to the point. Focusato, Durbin, and Trek Togger rounding out the top 4. And Emi Schizzato rounds out the top 5. Trying to get back in the dance is that 74 machine as Stolworthy has finally dropped the bleeding a little bit. Gets a little bit of help from that Dodge teammate of Keon Daly in that Target number 94. They nearly bumper wreck, and Durbin going around off the front end of Togger. Back up through traffic, gets run over by the 20. Back down the racetrack they go, and the caution flag is out once again. If I had a nickel for every time that Ike Durbin got turned off the front end of somebody, I'd have a handful of nickels. Happens quite often. And unfortunately, getting caught up in that mess once again was that 20 of Bowen Fisher. There's Bowen Fisher in that Polaroid Chevrolet. Rich Roy also a little bit off the pace. But the caution flag will come out here for the second time this evening on lap number 7. And Gustavo Carrillo will lead them back to the yellow flag. Oh, it's going to be one of those races, Caleb. It is certainly going to be one of those races, and that definitely could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of surprised that did only take out both the 86 of Ike Durbin and the 20 of Bowen Fisher, but yeah, like you say, that could have definitely been way worse considering the 86 got turned around pretty much right in front of the pack from third in line. But yeah, like I talked about, might end up being one of those races. Definitely quite the chaotic start to this race. Have to see if it can maybe get a bit cleaner as this race goes along, but we'll have to see.
Well, again, you look at that last time by, Carrillo, 234 miles an hour right at the front straightaway. That's just their average speed on the night. So with the amount of cautions we might see, it is certainly going to be very interesting. There's no other way to put it. It's going to be an interesting dance of attrition for all of these drivers here tonight. Again, we've only got 47 laps to go, and how about this? Keon Daly, the 02, that's Connor Edwards, and the 48 of RJ Bishop are going to stay out. Everybody else is going to come down. Besides, there's one other straggler. It was Jason Stereo, who's off the lead lap. But other than those 3, everybody's going to come down the pit lane here on lap number 10. We are just a little bit of a slog right now. In case you're just tuning in, first and foremost, welcome to tonight's broadcast of the Fuel Superspeedway Series. Trey Wright and Caleb Rose on the call for North American Sim Racing Network. I believe, did Stolworthy miss their pit stall? No, I think there was contact between the 20 and the 7 once again. I don't know.
I believe it was. I know the 20, I think, got turned sideways.
Well, that is Very unfortunate for them, but as Trek Togger will complete service in car number 60, we'll go ahead and take a look and see what happened to put us under the caution flag for the second time tonight. And it was pretty just cut and dry right from the get-go. You're going to watch that 86, just a little bit of a bump from that Suburban Cowgirl Steakhouse 60. Back up the racetrack, nowhere for Bowen Fisher to go. I genuinely can't believe that we didn't collect more cars. I thought that was going to be the big one as those guys were fighting for third, I believe. But a great save out of both of those drivers, especially for Ike Durbin. He's used to running a little bit renegade-wise in that 86 Mazda. But nonetheless, we'll get one more look at it here before we go back to the green flag. See him getting turned sideways off the front end of the 60, and yeah, Fisher nowhere to go. Second incident that Fisher was caught up in tonight. They've been in 3 incidents total, and not what you want. Certainly not what you want for a lot of those drivers, and we're going to get regrouped here in a couple of moments. 3 cars staying out. It looks like only, yeah, it was just only 2. It was Bishop. I don't know, where did Connor Edwards, no, Connor Edwards is going to come down. So Edwards staying out an extra lap in that 0-2. So now we'll get 2 drivers that will stay out. It's the 48 and the 94. A bold strategy gotten. We'll see if that'll certainly play out for those guys.
It'll be interesting to see, like you mentioned, with just how much fuel is going to be a factor. Like, we're definitely probably going to see quite a lot of varying and interesting strategies regarding that, and definitely seeing it in play here right now. Is still got the 94 and 48 here out on the racetrack, and like the 02 staying out for another lap to come in and get another lap worth of fuel. Definitely some interesting stuff going on, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out over the course of this race, and we'll have to see if it maybe influences the outcome. We'll have to see.
Well, there's Vincenzo Focasato, who has been able to get all the way up to 3rd in that 37. We're going to update our audio slider just a little bit, so I'm a little bit louder. I know you guys love it when I'm this loud on a broadcast. But all 3 championship-eligible drivers still in this race, and Fisher a little bit back there in the 20. Edwards, Stallhood, and Carrillo coming back down the pit lane. Carrillo won the race back, but he's going to restart all the way from the tail end of the field. And, of course, Jason Stereo, very slow in that 96. He might have a mechanical failure. And Crystal Bennett, they're out of the race as well. They had a valve issue in the 84, so we're down to 14 cars. I didn't even see that on my monitor until just now. We'll get this race restarted with 44 laps to go, in case everybody's just tuning in. Under our second caution of the night here at the Fuel Hyperspeedway. RJ Bishop going in and out there for a brief moment in that 48, but he is no worse for wear right here and right now. Bishop, Daly, Focasato, Schizzato, LaPrade, your top 5 going back through the Geico restart zone. And a great jump off of the outside lane for Keon Daly, and he is out like a rocket in that target dodge. We'll see if Bishop is able to hold up behind him. We'll see how much of a jump that got that 94 and how much it might bite him if he gets a little too far out. Again, these super speedways, how everybody is able to draft off of one another. You get out of like that, you are a sitting duck in the middle of hunting season, Caleb.
Yeah, definitely. That 94 got an absolutely beautiful restart there, but they're already really forming up a bit of a pack here behind the 94. RJ Bishop there in the lead. He's quickly catching back up to the 94 Keon Daly. He's probably got a really good pull here through turns 3 and 4, and especially here as we head down the front straightaway. Oh, yeah, he's already closed up to the back bumper of the 94. We'll have to see if he ends up making a move or if he stays in behind. Here he's looking to the inside. Here he goes.
Here he comes, Keon, nearly a little bit of a bump there from the 48, and R.J. Bishop will go to the race lead in that Jimmy Johnson 48. And going with them once again will be the 37 of Focasato. You got Stolworthy behind there in the 90. And now we're going to see these guys bunch back up into a pack And again, typically what we see in Superspeedway racing is everybody just trying to run into a train until the last 5 or so laps of the race. But how much fuel mileage is going to matter here? We're not even fuel mileage running, where everybody is just every man for themselves out here. And RJ Bishop, only driver without a team here. Tonight you got Stolworthy and Daly, teammates there nose to tail. Of course, John LaPrade, he's also without a teammate tonight. And of course, you can't forget about the Millennium Autosport trio. Focus Auto now leading that trio. Ike Durbin back in the fray. 4th car on the inside of that black and purple 86 machine. Of course, Rich Roy in that Ryan Newman 29. He's coming in 3 wide in front of Roy. Tyler Stolhood also in the mix, and now these guys are getting very close together. Here comes a little bit of a shove from Don LaPrade behind that 37 car. We'll see what LaPrade is able to do. 14 cars still in the race. Jason Stereo has lost touch with the rear end of the field. But we are going to go on board with that number 74 machine and take you for a lap around the Fuel Hyperspeedway. You can just see the degree of banking on that 74 machine up on the right-hand side of your screen. We're already at about 40 degrees tilt. LaPrade shoving the back end of that Best Weather Technology 37. He gives Focasato a little bit of a bump, not enough to spin him around again, even on the straightaways. The speeds these guys are running, again, Don LaPrade, 250 miles an hour in that number 74 machine, rocketing around turn number 4. It's still Focasato who's leading the way. Here to begin lap number 16.
Giving the bump there to the 74 LaPrade as we head back into turns 1 and 2. You got Stolworthy and Daly there lined up on the outside line, trying to make something happen. Here comes the 86 of Ike Durbin back up here in this mix as well there in that 86, looking to try and catch up to Skizzato here down the back straightaway, but they're going to go up to the outside. Big move to the inside from Stolworthy and Daly as they're looking to potentially put the 97 of Skizzato out to dry, and they're going to do just that.
Yeah, and Skizzato in the Ford, the lone Ford in this lead pack right now is going to go to the Boondocks, but it's that 37 BWT Mazda still out front. Skizzato a little bit loose, and Rich Roy hit the wall off of 4. Everybody scatters like ants around that Altel 29. The Roy Construction number 29, the Venus 29, I finally got that on the third right. Can't blame me for thinking it's Altel because that is the Ryan Newman scheme from the 2007 season. I've got that diecast right in front of me, funny enough. Stallhood right now, the first car outside of this top pack of 6 drivers, and we got a 4-car line being led by that 37 machine, but Keon Daly, he's going to ditch his teammate up to the outside, and that might bite him in the rear bumper, because Durbin is going to scoot on by. Skizzato will say thank you very much for that free spot. And I think that might be a little bit of a design move there for Keon Daly, but he aggressively goes back down to the inside, hugging that apron. We'll see what Keon will do as these guys will continue to stay on that upper groove again. That top part of the racetrack above that dashed orange and white line, that's going to be the preferred line. We see Dion a little bit loose. He is absolutely killing his chassis there, going between the banking and the upper part of the race course. But again, the transition is not as stark as you would see at Daytona or Talladega in the corner, so you can do that. That might be a strategy that Durbin might be trying to work, but right now it's a 5-car line. Everybody's under a blanket for first between 5th. Daly's back up in here. Same thing with Trek Talker to make it a 6 or 7-car battle for the top spot. Right here on lap number 19, and these guys last came down on lap number 7. So we're about 12 laps into this fuel run. We might see green flag pit stops coming up here soon, Caleb. And there goes Skizzato into the outside wall. Dion going around as well. Is that enough for a multi? I don't see the yellow light out. Now it is. So Emmy Skizzato nearly with a Dale Earnhardt impression hard into the outside wall, and Keon Daly simultaneously got spun around as well, trying to avoid. And immediately the broadcaster's jinx strikes, and we're not going to have green flag pit stops yet, at least in this race. But that was another instance where all hell could have broken loose at the front of the field. Unfortunately, only a handful of drivers were involved. Wow.
That was definitely a colossal shot to the outside wall from the 97 to Emi Scazzato. Luckily, it doesn't look like, at least visually, the car isn't too badly damaged. Have to see if something might have gone awry under the hood from that impact, but definitely quite the hard crash there for Scazzato. They're going to continue, though, at least as for now, and Keon Daly getting caught up in that as well. Tough break for those two, but yeah, like we were talking about, that one, too, is another wreck that could have definitely been much worse than it was.
We've only seen a handful of multi-car incidents so far tonight, as Rich Roy will bring that 29 down the pit lane. But man, oh man, this race is certainly been a little bit stop and go, as everybody's going to come down on lap number 20, so about a 10-lap fuel run. Man. About a 13-lap fuel run, my apologies. Again, we're going to be sending about 13 to 18 laps on fuel. Focusato is going to lead him down the pit area here in that BWT-37 machine. And after that, we'll take a look at what happened to put us under the caution flag for the third time tonight. Certainly, it's been an interesting race so far, as Trek Togger is going to stay out for an extra lap to get a lap led there in that number 60 machine. So that's going to be 5 bonus points that they're definitely going to need for the championship. Stallhood, I believe, he just took 2 tires in that 7, I think. And he's going to lead the field off of the pit lane. And how about that for Stallhood?
I have to see how that ends up shaping out. It looks like the 60 Trek Togger, at least for right now, staying out on the racetrack. I have to see if he potentially comes in this time by, but definitely looks like we're going to see some shakeups here in pit lane.
I think we certainly are, as Togger, I believe they'll probably just come down the pit lane to make another adjustment, but Emi Scazzato, that is what all of our thoughts were right now after that initial crash, because that was about as hard of a lick as we've seen anybody take, as we get a good look at the replay. Was running in 5th at the time. Oh, just a little bit of a shove from the 94, and oh my goodness, thank the Lord, moderate damage was on, because, yeah, Dale Earnhardt, that's the only thing I can think of, and we'll take a look at Daly's spin as well. But goodness gracious. That was certainly a look and a half, as we'll get a look at what happened with Daly. 2 cars just bumper grabbing at the worst possible time. Oh, and it was Trek Togger that accidentally spun the 94, so that's the second car that has gone off the front end of Keon Daly. Or rather, Trek Togger tonight, I should say. And we're going to get one more look at this accident with Scazzato in the turn 1 wall cam angle. Hold on to your butts, folks. This is going to be a wild ride. Watch that 97. Bam! Right under our camera at the worst possible spot in that 97 machine. About as totaled as you can get. Wow. That was ugly. A couple more drivers are going to come back down the pit lane to make some adjustments. Oh, and Gustavo Carrillo, we saw him, we freeze framed there for a brief moment. He just spun coming off of the pits, I believe. That's not something you want to do.
Definitely been quite the chaotic race here so far. Not even halfway home yet.
Not even halfway home, like you said. Under our 3rd caution of the night so far, as we approach, we're way past the top of the hour. Stereo back on track in the 96. But now that we're past the bottom of the hour, I'd like to welcome everybody that's just tuning in to tonight's broadcast of round number 10 of 12 here at the Fuel Hyperspeedway for the Fuel Superspeedway Series. 3 races left in the season. Trey Wright and Caleb Rose on the call. And we're going to get this race restarted. 33 laps to go, so everybody is likely going to have to make at least one more pit stop depending on how their fuel numbers are going. But it is, like we said, it has been a really fantastic race so far. Stallhood and Edwards are going to lead the field back to the green flag. And again, we've had 3 cautions based on single file racing, so I think we haven't even begun to see how insane this race can be. Only 2 cars in the inside lane, green flag back out in the air, and immediately off the jump,
no!
Stallhood and Edwards getting turned around, and we're right back under the yellow flag. So cold tires strike again. Schizzato, Fisher, Edwards was the first one to go around, and that was a Ryan Newman race start wreck. What did I just say, Caleb? We haven't even begun to see the absolute absurdity that this race can offer, and immediately, I don't even think I was 3 seconds away from saying it. And, well, that unfortunately happened, and that is such a tough break. I couldn't tell who the first one to go around. Well, I believe it was Stallhood that got into the 0-2, and oh my lord.
Boy.
Oh boy is absolutely right. Under our 4th caution. And, well, that is certainly one for the record books once again. I believe Stallhood will, in fact, restart as the leader. So let's get a couple of good looks at what happened here, because that was not good, to say the very least. And I think it was the exact same thing that happened with Jason Stereo, I believe. And right on the start of the race, again, you look at that 7, and he just does not go and goes up the racetrack into Edwards. Edwards breaks sideways. Oh, I cannot believe that Ike Durbin got through. Oh, Bowen Fisher went upside down as well, did a full revolution, and somehow ended back on their wheels. And, well, that is certainly unfortunate for a lot of those drivers involved. I don't think anybody's going to be knocked out, even Bowen Fisher, who went upside down. But, yeah. That is certainly not what the doctor ordered, Caleb. No, it is not.
Absolutely not. Tough break there for everybody, especially the 0-2 Connor Edwards just got caught in bad place at the wrong time. And it's definitely a bit of a new wreck. I'm used to bumper grabbing when trying to push somebody, but not like that. Kind of looks like he kind of just bumper grabbed off the 7 to stall it as he drifted up into his lanes. But yeah, tough break there for everybody. And yeah, like I thought about it, looks like the cold tires might have struck again, and this time in a little bit greater capacity.
Yeah, and that was Stallhood, the race leader, and he's going to retain that race lead even though he wrecked right off of the restart. But, like we were saying, the insanity has just begun here at the Fuel Hyperspeedway. I believe Stallhood is going to, in fact, go to the back here in that number 7 machine. So, bunch of cars coming off of the pit lane. Schizzato, who has been involved in their 3rd accident, or the 2nd accident of the night, will come off. Same thing with the 29, the 20, and several other cast of characters. I believe Carrillo is going to remain in the lead in that Miller Lite number 2. But again, you go back. Where's Bowen Fisher? There they are in that 20 machine. Beautiful looking Polaroid Chevy Monte Carlo. Number 20 car. That is... I'm a sucker for black race cars, Caleb, and especially with just a simple design, Polaroid design. Simple is sometimes the most object thing of beauty, as here we go. Everybody's going to come back down the pit lane once more, with only Carrillo and the 90 of Stolworthy staying out, but certainly a good-looking race car. Again, any paint scheme looks good on a Gen 4 car, especially that number 74 machine of Dunlopron. If we can get a good view of that Lazarus car at some point. Trying to see if we can get a good look at it there. Just a gas and go for Laprade, and he will trundle his way out of there. I think everybody is just trying to get it to maybe having to do one more pit stop, depending on their fuel numbers, but Carrillo's going to roll the dice. And the only driver that's going to roll the dice that's in this championship hunt is Taylor Stolworthy. Again, you look at the point standings up on the bottom of your screen. Stolworthy only 8 points behind the race lead for this final 3 in the championship, and Vincenzo Focasato in the middle. Those guys, Focasato right now towards the back of the pack. Actually, he's going to restart in 5th. So it's a little bit of roll of dice, see where you are, because of course after tonight we've only got 2 races left. We've got the race at Under Armour next week. That is Under Armour. If you saw the New Year's 500 here on the North American Sim Racing Network, you know the Under Armour Speedway, it's not as chaotic as this, but it's certainly pretty chaotic in its own right itself. And of course we got the Paris circuit as the season finale. But then of course is then, and this is now. 30 laps to go this next time by. And again, whoever has the fastest lap of the race at the halfway point will gain 5 bonus points. So I believe we'll have to watch out for who's got it. Right now it's Trek Togger who's got the fastest lap with a 45.387. I'll have to see if these guys can get to the Geico restart zone with ease. Green flag back out, or are we going to get one more lap? I think we're going to abandon this restart attempt. And I believe we are going to indeed get one more attempt here at this caution flag. So I think every pace car is going to come back out, and we're going to go ahead and reshuffle the field here. Re-rack the field, I should say. There's Bishop there on the 48, and now everybody is just conserving fuel. Trying to see what the issue, because the caution lights are out, but the green lights are not on. Because you can see right at the top right of your screen. You see that caution light right there, right where actually the ticker's on. So you can see the caution light right at the top right of your screen. It is now off, which should signify that it's a 1 to go. Now, the issue is, because I do not believe the pace car, the pace car is still just sitting there. So now the question is, how is everything going to shape out? I don't believe I have seen this before. We're still waiting for the pace car.
This is interesting. Jason Payson's not getting the memo.
And see what the issue is. We're still under the yellow flag. And we knew that it was... We knew that tonight was going to be interesting. We knew that it was going to be special. We didn't think it was going to be this special. Trying to see if Stallhood is trying to reset something here, being at the tail end of the field. I can't say that I've ever seen this.
Talk about it all pre-race. Expect the unexpected. I did not expect this.
Connor Edwards has gone around in the 0-2. All right, now the pits are open, which signifies it being normal. Everybody continue to just run around here. We're on lap 28. Yellow flag still being displayed as out, but the pace car has not caught up with the rest of the field. I can't say I have seen this. So Stallhood, he's going to figure this out. I'm not sure if it's just something with the track itself. I don't know. I really don't know what's going on. I really can't say I've ever seen this before.
I've really never seen anything like this either. It's definitely quite the kerfuffling situation.
So Stallhood still being put in the 7. Gustavo Correa is going to come down. Again, it's as if the field is 1 to go. So caution lights are still not on. The caution lights are extinguished, but the green flag is not on either. So I guess Gustavo Carrillo is now the pace car technically. So we'll see if that will be enough to trigger the game going back to the green flag. And Stallhood will just give up that spot in the 7. I trust Tyler's judgment a lot more than I trust mine, so I think if that doesn't work, then all bets are off, and we'll just run this race under the caution flag by technicality. It's always these weird homemade tracks that always got a few just very weird kinks in them. And I'm not sure if that's gonna reset things here momentarily, as Carrillo has got the field. We'll see what they'll do going into the restart zone. We'll see at the bottom of the top right of your screen the flag person still with the yellow flag. And does not look like that triggered anything. Stillworthy is back up to full speed, and I believe we might be just running this race under the yellow flag. So I think the green flag is technically out. We'll just put the graphic on there for the time being. This is very weird. This is one of the weirdest races that I've been a part of. I think we're still technically under the yellow flag, though.
It's definitely one of the weirdest things that I've personally probably seen, but definitely interesting. Definitely a bit of an interesting twist here to this race.
Caution lights are still out.
Or, yellow flag is still out.
So you can see the yellow flag is still there, but we're still counting laps, so I think we should be fine. We're still counting laps, so I think Taylor Stillworthy is the race leader. We're past the halfway point in the race, so yeah, I think we'll see if anybody wrecks. Will that trigger a yellow flag? That would be my guess, as Jason Stereo up on the high side of the 96. So right now we'll see if this is technically logging laps under the yellow flag. Because right now we've had 4 caution flags with 18 laps run under yellow.
It's still logging laps, and it Is
Well,
still
lap
uploading
31. We are okay. So we're technically running these caution flags under yellow. This is very weird, but the show must go on. I think we've got it squared away. The game is just being the game, so we're just going to continue to run this race as is. Taylor Stallworthy still the race leader with Keon Daly playing gunner right behind them in that 90 car. We got Focusato and Trek Togger rounding out the top 4, so all three championship eligible drivers right now inside the top 5. And Daly's still playing defense. He got the 60 car right behind them. And what a draft going down into turn number 1. Can Togger hold on to it? They're going to push that 37 car a little bit out of line. LaPrade is going to go with a 37. Focusato now leading a 3-car line on the outside lane. That's going to push Togger to the end of this 7-car pack. But a whale of a run right now for that number 90 machine. But Daly also coming to the inside and not able to hold off that 37. Here comes Focusato with a little bit of a run. Side by side for second. LaPrade coming back the other way as well. And how about RJ Bishop getting back in the fray in that 48 machine? Here comes Focusato, a boatload of steam on the outside lane with a big push there from LaPrade.
A big push there from the 74, and it looks like he's going to clear for the lead on the outside here as we head through turns 1 and 2. LaPrade stays side by side with the 90, now clears off of turn number 4. Here comes RJ Bishop in the 48 as well. How about this 20 of Bowen Fisher? He's still up here in this pack, and that car was just upside down a couple minutes ago.
Fisher going upside down over the most recent caution flag we had. So Bishop going in and out of the server for a brief moment, but Focusato rocketing back to the front. It's still anybody's race. Even Jason Stereo, who's lost touch with the pack a little bit there in the 96. Rich Roy, Emi Schizzato, Connor Edwards, and Tyler Stallhood, as well as Gustavo Carrillo, have lost touch, and same thing with Ike Durbin. Ike might be put a lap down here soon. Off of just the whatever, I get the only word I can think of is stupidity off of what happened there in the early parts of us trying to get back to the green flag. But it's 4 cars under a blanket, 5 if you count Togger, and these guys getting very, very close to one another. And up the racetrack goes Bishop. Here comes Togger trying to make it 3 wide with Stallworthy in the middle. Stallworthy able to hold on. They'll fall back outside, back to 5th. Togger trying to make that inside lane work, and Daly and Fisher trying to get back in the dance here. 22 laps to go. Togger continues to hold the fastest lap of the race, and the fastest lap of the middle portion of the race. And I think with just how sparsely this field is right now, Togger should be able to hold on to the fastest lap again at 45.387. We saw these guys running 48 second laps in Q.
Nadia Stallworthy to the inside for 3rd.
21 laps to go here at the Fuel Hyperspeedway, right here at the top of the hour. Round 10 of 12. Here for the Fuel Superspeedway Series on the North American Sim Racing Network. Trey Wright and Caleb Rose on the call for the NASRN. 20 laps remain in the semi-penultimate race of the season. 5 cars all in line with one another. 3 of them fighting for this championship over the course of the next 3 weeks. RJ Bishop with a little bit of a run. Couldn't quite get around the 74 of Dunlop Prod, who's got 3 wins on the season already. How about this 37 machine? Vincenzo Focusato just continuing to hold serve, but Stallworthy was trying to side draft the 74. Now we nearly got 3 wide. Bishop with an aggressive move back down low. Picks the inside, helping that Juicy Fruit 90 car a little bit. Now Finks trying to make it a 3 wide for a brief moment with under 20 laps to go. Oh, Togger on the outside wall, a little bit out of shape. They're able to save it.
I could have been close right there. Luckily, Togger was able to save, but this is definitely going to get a lot more interesting up front here. Is now Focusato R2 lanes here. Right now, he's staying ahead of the 74 of Dunlapron. He's got a bit of a run here down the back straightaway, but Stallworthy going to be coming in with a run here as they head through 3 and 4 with help from the 60.
And it's just these 5 cars that are still on top of one another. Daly has fallen back a little bit. He's got no help. Same thing with Bowen Fisher. They're likely going to need a caution flag to come out. Again, that yellow flag on your screen doesn't signify a yellow flag, as we nearly had 3 wide of Stallworthy, nearly in the middle of that sandwich. Togger playing very aggressive, and now they're going to be right behind that 90 Machine's rear bumper. Those two are going to tandem draft on the bottom lane. 3 cars still up high. Trying to find a ledge there is Stallworthy, but not able to get one. A great run off of turn 2 from the 48 of Bishop. And now it's a 3-car battle for 3rd on back, and the top 2 beginning to pull away a little bit here, coming around to 17 to go. Still, these guys are going to have to come down the pit lane at least one more time. Potentially 2 more times if these guys come down the pit lane within the next couple of laps, or right now. That 37 Machine looking really, really solid out front. 1 win, or rather 2 wins on the season so far for Focusato. Stallworthy has not won yet this season. Togger just getting their first career win last week in the 60.
Getting, knock on wood, a nice green flag run in here, which could mean that we might potentially run into green flag pit stops. And of course, like you said, with that fuel window, these guys cruising around here 250 plus miles an hour. It's guzzling gas quicker than your average Jeep Wrangler. So we'll have to see if they can keep it clean for long enough here to get to green flag pit stops. And if they do, that could certainly get very interesting.
Bishop thought about making it 3 wide, thinks better of it. Gustavo Carrillo was in the pit lane. He was dropping debris on the racetrack, and he was displayed the black flag.
3 wide.
3 wide once again, and they're able to figure it out before going into 1. But Togger not playing nicely in that 60 Machine, but they're going to be hung out to dry on the bottom lane. It'll be 15 to go this next time by, and the question is, when are these guys going to come down the pit lane to make what will probably be their final stop of the night? 3 cars all in line with one another, rumbling towards turn number 3. When will these guys pull the trigger? Bishop thought about coming down, but he's easily going over 250 miles an hour. Again, you guys running flat out with no guardrails, no restrictor plates. This is the fast version of the Fuel Hyperspeedway. We're seeing what these engines can do, these Ilmor and Haas engines. I thought we had 1 car nearly spinning around. We do have a car in the pit lane. It's Jason Stereo. Stereo was running in 13th at the time, currently 1 lap down. He is not with the top 5 drivers. We'll see when these guys will come down the pit lane. Togger to the low side. And Stallworthy and Togger, oh boy, they nearly sandwiched together. They're separated by only 8 points, and of course Focusato, with all the laps he's leading, he'll likely be the championship favorite going into the Under Armour Super Speedway, just the Under Armour Speedway next week. The overall champion for the Grand National Series in 2025, looking to kickstart 2026 off with a bang. Ike Durbin, lap down car, part of a Millennium Auto Sports trio, still out on the racetrack. Rich Roy still out here.
Boy.
And Durbin down low, and now he nearly got run over by the 74. That was the worst possible time for these guys to come down to make their money stop. And here we go.
Here we go.
Togger aggressively down the pit lane. You got to get it all the way down. Spun the tires. They're able to get it beneath 70 miles an hour, and what a save by that 60.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Is it going to cost them? Are they going to flat spot the tires enough for it to be a problem? But that was about the best save that you can ask for. But all 5 drivers in the race lead, pitting at the same time. Schizzato also down the pit lane to make their final stop. Bowen Fisher, the lone car to stay out as Keon Daly, also came down. Same thing with Rich Roy in the 29. Carrillo will remain out. He is currently 2 laps down. Connor Edwards will come down, and now Bowen Fisher will make their final pit stop of the night. Tyler Stallhood, the lone driver to stay out, and who is going to win this race off the pit lane? Everybody just taking at least 2 cans of gas to try to get to the end. LaPrade, first one out of his pit stall, but it's going to be that 37 of Focusato, who will be first one out of the pit lane in its entirety. A slow stop for that 60 and the 90. We got a drag race off of the pit lane between the top 2 drivers as Bowen Fisher. There they are in car number 20. They're going to have to take a full tank of gas, and they're likely going to be way out of it. But right now, Dun LaPrade looking for that 4th win of 2026. In that Lazarus number 74 we were talking about earlier, great looking paint scheme. They've got Focusato right in tow, coming around 11 laps remaining in tonight's race. It's been a good one so far. 4 caution flags for a lot of laps run under the yellow flag. We had a little bit of a glitch right at the midway point in this race, but right now, looks like we've got a match race under our belts, Caleb, here with 11 to go.
Looks like we did indeed have green flag pit stops and definitely shook things up quite a bit. Now we just got LaPrade and Focusato, I believe, going to end up cycling out here to our 2 race leaders. You got R.J. Bishop there in the 48, a little ways back, as well as Trent Togger and Taylor Stolworthy linked up behind the 48. I have to see if we can maybe get a pack formed up once again before this race is over. We'll have to see with Focusato. He wants this race win as he dives underneath the 74 of Dun LaPrade. And we'll have to see if maybe these guys throw it on back. Bishop, Togger, and Stolworthy can maybe get formed up here, because if they can, they're a little far back, but like I said, expect the unexpected. Maybe they could have a shot. We'll have to see, but this is still shaping up to be quite the interesting finish here for the Fuel Hyperspeedway.
Well, as everything cycles over, as these 3 battling for 3rd right now, and now we're going to see Focusato and LaPrade get hooked up. Those guys 5.5 seconds behind the top 2, so if they want to get back up here and make it a 5-horse race instead of a match race, they've certainly got to get their rear ends in gear and try to get things back going. Togger very, very loose in front of Stolworthy, but Stolworthy continuing to put the bumper right to the rear end of the 60. Nearly made a little bit of contact. You got to be very careful bump drafting in these corners to make sure you don't bumper grab. But right now, it's the top 2 all in line with one another. Try to duke this thing out for the final 10 laps of round number 10 here at the Fuel Hyperspeedway. It's LaPrade versus Focusato. About a rivalry that's as old as the Fuel Racing League itself. LaPrade has had a successful season, but not as successful as to be running for a championship with these final 3 drivers. He is looking for another win here tonight. He's going to get a nice run off the back end of that best winner technology number 37 Mazda. And Focusato does have a teammate in line. He's got Ike Durbin playing blocker if need be, and playing drafting partner as well. So that's an ace that Focusato has got up his sleeve right now. So it's essentially going to be a 2-car battle, a 1-on-2 battle, if you will, that LaPrade is going to be playing here in these final 9 laps.
Be interesting to see if the Millennium Autosport teammates decide to try and maybe plan something here. But LaPrade right now staying in behind that 37, maybe just waiting for the right moment to strike. And yeah, Ike Durbin definitely contributing quite a bit to these 2, giving them a little bit of help here along, and that's probably not what that second pack wants to see, although they are definitely hauling right now. They've gotten the gap to under 5 seconds, but I would imagine they'll probably have to go a little bit quicker than that if they do want to catch this top 2, and maybe even just catch a little bit of luck on their side. The top 2 are catching a lap car. The 97, Vinny Scazzato, they cleanly maneuver around this 97.
Last time by as they get around Emmy. So that second pack was 4.7 seconds off. We'll see how much they're able to cut in this time by, and they're back to 5 seconds. Again, we saw a little bit of a bobble there from Stolworthy. That desperately cost them. Again, these 2 now in a 3-car pack. All running with one another. Stereo, he got into the outside wall. He nearly got run over there by that 3-car tandem. Stolworthy just trying to push everything they've got in that 90 machine and nearly grabbing the rear end of that 60 car. you've essentially just got two different three-car packs all in line with one another. And they're all pretty much equal with one another in terms of speed. 7 laps to go, and Leprod still waiting to make his move. But again, there's not much you can really do if you're Leprod, because you try to make a move on that 37, Durbin is just going to go the opposite way, and it's going to give Focusato the big edge here. You just gotta have a really, really big run, probably off of turn number 2 would be where I would try to make that shot. But it's all about just timing it right, and you just got to time it perfectly. One wrong move, 1 foot off, and you're going to end up finishing second, potentially worse if you get run over by that 86 car. And again, these guys back in here, 5.1 seconds off that last time by. We'll see if that will improve. I really don't think it will. As Edwards trying to catch back up with these guys, survey says at the line, and it's 5.3, so these two actually gaining distance between these other 3 back here with 6 laps to go, and I think these guys are starting to realize that they're not going to catch up to the top 2, so they're going to start to battle amongst themselves over these next couple of laps. We got 5.5 laps to go, so wreck now. Well, that ain't going to be the end of the race.
Looks like they are starting to potentially battle amongst themselves here, but yeah, time is ticking away. And 74 still potentially probably just waiting for the right time to strike. He's got 5 laps to go here. And like you were talking about, definitely needs to keep in mind that behind him is the teammate to the car in front of you. So have to see what he makes with that. But we'll have to see what both these drivers decide to do, because, yeah, like you mentioned, just one wrong move could be the difference here between victory and defeat.
Under 5 laps to go here at the Fuel Hyperspeedway. It's been a great one so far, as Leprod still biding his time, trying to find a way around Vincenzo Focusato in that BWT 37 back in here. But Focusato will likely take the championship lead over the way things stand right now. It's going to be a great battle between Togger and Stolworthy for this 3rd spot, more than likely. Oh, what a run for Leprod, and here he goes. He's going to make his move now. He's going to dive all the way down. What an arc there for Leprod. Can he make it stick? He can.
He does.
He went all the way to the inside pit wall and somehow was able to make it stick. Can Focusato now get it over with the crossover move? He's got Durbin right behind him with 3.5 laps to go. If Dun Leprod is able to hold on, that is going to be the race-winning move there. What a bonsai dive for Leprod, and he was able to make it stick.
That was a fantastic move by the 74, pretty much perfectly executed there. And now he's got the leader coming to 3 laps to go, and now he's switching from offense to defense. You got to do everything you can to hold this 37 off, but I'm sure this 37 of Focusato really wants this race win, especially considering the scope of the championship at play. He's got 3 laps here to make his move. Have to see what he does. He's got his teammate right behind him. This is shaping up to be a fantastic finish here from the Fuel Hyperspeedway's peaking low here down the back straightaway. Still pulling up to the back bumper, the 74. He's looking high.
He's trying to go for the crossover going into turn number 3. Focusato 23 laps led on the evening. That was Dun Leprod's only 2nd lap that he's led tonight. Oh, 1 car around. That's R.J. Bishop. He got turned off the front end of somebody. I believe it was Taylor Stallworthy. We remain green. Sticks high in the air. 2 laps to go. Here comes Focusato. He's got Durbin coming with him. Durbin had to dive out of there. Here's Durbin down to the inside to make it 3 wide. Durbin is on the tail end of the lead lap. I think it was trying to prevent that 74 from going down low. 3 wide for the race lead. Durbin back up the racetrack to give his teammate a little bit of a push with 1.5 laps to go.
Focusato pulling ahead here down the back straightaway, but Leprod's going to get the inside here through 3 and 4, but he might let off a little bit here. He's going to fall in back behind that 37. Maybe looking for one last charge here on this last lap.
Bell sounding, 1 lap to go here at the Fuel Hyperspeedway, and Focusato back out front. 24 laps led right at the line there for that BWT 37. Looking for his 3rd win of the season. Leprod looking to steal it away from him. Where does Durbin go? Is Durbin going to have a factor in this race? It's a match race to the end. Back in here, this battle for third between Togger and Stolworthy. They're still on top of one another. Half a lap to go here at the Fuel Hyperspeedway, and another run generating for Leprod. Focusato looking to shut the door on that 74. Here comes Leprod. He's going to duck down low once again. Can he make it stick this time by? He's all the way on the inside. Is he able to make it stick? He's playing it down the low side, nearly going into the pit entrance. They're going to be side by side right at the finish line. Not able to get it in time. Vincenzo Focusato holds off the 74. He wins it here at the Fuel Hyperspeedway. And a dead heat for third. Also,
oh my goodness.
Did Stolworthy get third? No, it was Togger.
Togger.
Trek Togger by 1/1000th of a second. He got third. Wow. Oh, we are good to be back. It is so good to be back. Here in the Fuel Racing lead, Vincenzo Focusato by 15/100ths of a second gets win number 3 on the year. Leprod tried that same strategy, this time on the opposite end of the track. Wow.
What a race. What a finish, my goodness.
And they say Superspeedway racing is janky, and they say that you need a big ass pack to make Superspeedway racing what it is.
We had 2 cars, and that gave us that absolute cinema of a finish.
You know what? I can draw a lot of similarities from the what race was that? The 2000. No, not the 1969, the first race at Talladega, where we had 2 cars competing. We technically had a scoring error, if you will, with just whatever happened.
Yeah, I guess.
And we had a fantastic finish. Not controversial in any way, just an incredible finish. Vincenzo Focusato is going to burn it down right at the start-finish line. An incredible win here tonight.
Hey, you know what? The flag man finally put the flag away.
So as Focusato burns it down in that 37 machine, we'll take a look. Well, that's not the official standings. We do know that, yeah, because again, we had the whole thing with the caution flag, so we'll try and get that here. As I don't know what Connor Edwards is doing, as Focusato is going to continue to burn it down right before we're bounced out of the server. We'll take a look and see what happened to RJ Bishop as he got turned sideways. Coming back off of turn number 3, and then we'll get into our post-race interviews. And oh, it was Connor Edwards that unfortunately turned him sideways by the looks of it. We'll follow along with this 48. We're getting around Edwards, just a little bit of contact, and around went the 48. He nearly went upside down on that 45 degrees of banking. Spun like a top all the way down, and that is unfortunately going to relegate him all the way to the boondocks in that number 48 machine, but tough break. Tough break for RJ Bishop. And we will go ahead and get everything here shortly. But what a race, Caleb. It always, these super speedway races, they are always just a thing of beauty. And we absolutely saw it here tonight.
Absolutely. What a race here from the Fuel Hyperspeedway. Definitely had quite a lot of curveballs in it. I definitely had quite a bit of chaos, and of course that whole thing with the yellow flag situation, but still gave us some spectacular racing all the way until the checkered flag. Just fantastic racing, fantastic battles, and at the end of it all, a fantastic finish there between Vincenzo Focusato and Dun Leprod. Some fantastic stuff here from the Fuel Hyperspeedway.
So right now, we will go over the official winners of this race. as right because everything got kind of screwed up at the end with the finishing result. But Vincenzo Focusato got the win. Dunlop Prod got second, and then Trek Tugger by 1/1000th of a second was able to beat out the 90 of Taylor Stolworthy by only about a hair of an inch. So Stolworthy will finish fourth. Fifth will be R.J. Bishop, despite spinning out. Bowen Fisher came back to finish sixth in that race. Seventh was Rich Roy. Keon Daly fell down to eighth. Ninth was Ike Durbin. 10th was Connor Edwards. 11th was Emmy Schizzato. 12th was Jason Stereo. 13th was Tyler Stallhood, actually. And 14th was Gustavo Carrillo, and 15th was Crystal Bennett with a mechanical issue. But we're going to get points calculated, and we're going to send things down to our post-race interviews here in just a couple of moments after an incredible race here at the Fuel Hyperspeedway, round number 10 of the Fuel Superspeedway Series season here in Lynchburg, Tennessee. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back with our post-race interviews.
Okay.
And we are back here for the post-race interviews after an incredible race here at the Fuel Hyperspeedway in tonight's broadcast of the Fuel Superspeedway series. We'll go into our post-race interviews here in just a brief moment once we get everything figured out. And now here we are, and since these guys are both battling for the championship and finished about 1/1000th of a second aside from each other, we're going to interview both these guys at the same time. Drivers of the number 60 Suburban Steakhouse Machine of Trek Togger and the number 90 Dodge, Juicy Fruit Dodge of Taylor Stolworthy. Guys, congratulations on surviving that race, and it was certainly an interesting race out there tonight, but you guys were battling your rear ends off all night long, and you guys came up with a great, really great battle right at the end there.
Yeah.
So Trek, beginning with you, you got your first career win in last week's race, if I'm not mistaken. It was. I wish we were able to broadcast it live, but I just want to congratulate you on that. And first and foremost, coming into this race as one of the final three drivers, what's going through your head taking on a guy who's been a super speedway ace like Taylor has, and of course Vincenzo Focasato, who we know is one of the best drivers in this series all around. So what's your mindset going into these final three races coming into tonight?
Honestly, I never thought I'd get this far. Didn't really think that much of it.
And then Taylor, same question for you. You've been really good on the super speedways all season long, still looking for that first win. You know, coming into tonight, part of the final three drivers, you know, especially at a track like this, you know, what was the strategy going into these next three races? Just trying to survive?
Yeah, for the most part, it's no secret if you look at the standings that I've had the least amount of top threes and wins, but just being consistent, not DNFing at least the best that I can, because one bad move in the championship and it's over. So just try to stay alive, and that's exactly what we did. And I was hoping to be in the fight for the win in the end, but the DVD gang, Vincenzo, Dunn, and Ike Durbin, they just really beat us off the pit stop.
DVD gang, DVD, that's a good one.
Came up with that just myself.
Yeah, that final pit stop of those two unfortunately kind of put you and RJ Bishop, you guys and RJ Bishop in a little bit of a three-car battle. And I know that you guys were trying to make it to the end, trying to tandem your way all the way to the front. But when it came to the final last couple of laps, it wouldn't really click for you guys that, hey, we're not going to catch up to the leaders and we just got to fight amongst ourselves.
I kind of found that out immediately because there was a lot of battling in the middle of us kind of trying to keep up. But I also knew that I was going to try to just leave my move as late as possible. But there was a lot of shuffling. RJ was trying to go up into the top 5 as well half the time. Looking back, you could see just how many times it kind of be shuffling up and down and up and down. Gustavo got into the battling a bit too. It was only when RJ wrecked out, I don't know what happened. I think he might have bounced off Gustavo or just got loose, that it just kind of was us then separating away for the final 2 laps.
Yeah, it was Connor Edwards, I think, that bounced off of the front end and kind of took him out of the running there. He was still able to finish 5th, which showed just kind of how spread out the field was. But going into next week's race, an equally dangerous and exciting track over at Under Armour. You know, it's a lot more tighter than this, so the margin for error is going to be probably about a lot more different than it was here tonight, which is how wide the track is. But going into next week, just trying to find the same strategy, just trying to gang up and trying to take down Vincenzo to you guys?
Yeah, I think for the most part, try to get a good strategy, try to avoid danger, because, you know, the first race of the Championship 3, everyone's pretty close together. There's going to be a lot of shuffling, but at the same time now, Vincenzo's got a really nice gap, thanks to the bonus and thanks to the win. So it's going to be just focusing on finishing ahead of him to make Paris not a daunting task.
Well, it's certainly going to be a fun one here. Caleb, you got anything for our fourth and fifth place finishers? Or third and fourth place finishers, excuse me.
I definitely have to say that was quite the race y'all put on here tonight, especially that battle between you two there towards the end. Really, really fun to watch. So congratulations to the both of you on some good runs there, and I definitely wish you best of luck as we head to the final couple races of the season for this championship battle.
Oh, and for the record, I'm driving a Cromwell.
Alrighty, so before we'll let you guys go, we'll give you guys the floor to shout out any sponsorship, any sponsors you've got. Anybody you want to give a shout out to here on the NESN airwaves? The floor is yours. We'll start with you, Taylor.
Saikyo El Show. We got the Uma Musume branding on the car. We got Juicy Fruit on the car. I would do the Talladega Nights Juicy Fruits Big Red bit, but we don't have a live sensor, so I'll refrain from that. If you know the Big Red bit I'm talking about.
I think
Talladega Nights.
I think all of us have seen Talladega Nights and a great looking number 90 car as well.
Yeah, about the same as. Well, I just want to thank the folks over at the Barbecue Steakhouse and what. Like I said last time, I finished up the first story of my webcomic, first episode of my webcomic about about around late November.
Well, it's great to have you guys both up in the booth, and you guys are going to definitely have your work cut out for you over this next fortnight or so, trying to track down Vincenzo Focusato. But guys, put on a whale of a show here tonight, put on a whale of a finish right at the end, and congratulations to the both of you. We'll see you guys next week down in Florida.
All right. Thank you for your time.
User was moved out of your channel. User was moved out of your channel.
That was Trek Tugger and Taylor Stolworthy, driver of the number 60 and number 90 machines, respectively. Here, that finished third and fourth on the grid. And moving back over to the runner-up finish here. Here in just a brief moment. Man who finished second here tonight in that beautiful-looking number 74 machine. Get him up in the broadcast booth here in a brief moment, and there we go. Driver of that number 74, Lazarus Ford Camaro, or Chevrolet. Yes, I should say. Mr. Dunn LaPrade, you got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
Yep, I do.
Well, you and Vincenzo certainly put together one whale of a battle coming into tonight, but going into this race, you unfortunately were one of the drivers that was on the outside looking in, coming into the final three. Now that you're not necessarily worried about a championship, how does that change your approach to every single race going on here for the next 3 weeks?
Just be relaxed. That's the beauty of life. You're relaxed.
Well, you certainly were relaxed here tonight. You were in an absolute dogfight right at the end there with Focusato, but backing up to that final round of pit stops, you and Vincenzo were came down the pit lane along with everybody else and ended up nose to tail 1-2 off of great pit stops. What is it like trying to fight a driver like Vincenzo Focusato, where he's really good at these super speedways, and especially that he had a little bit of a gunner with him with the 86 of Ike Durbin?
Well, I mean, Vinny and I knows this very well, and anybody else that's seen both of us race a lot, we have a habit of running 1-2 quite a lot, and in some cases, going side by side for the win to the finish line. Case in point, like Todd Ring and M&M's a couple of weeks ago. So I have nothing but respect for him, and congratulations to him. He's always been a fun competitor to be around. It's always fun to battle with too. He's one of the very few people, that I know that I could. I know there's a lot of people that I could trust to do battles with, and he's just a lot of fun to battle with.
He definitely is, and that bonsai move you had there to take the lead with 3 laps to go, that was one of the greatest moves that Caleb and I have seen in a long time. You go into that final set of corners where you tried the same move, this time for the win. Is there anything you think you could have done better, or it was just a victim of circumstance there?
Kind of a coin flip. If I maybe I probably should have went up all the way up to the wall to try to get a better angle in the turn, arch all the way down to the bottom to maybe try to do something because it's like a billion light years wide. So you could I probably could have done that instead. Uh, but I knew that the tires were kind of a big deal, and also was just a grip, especially when you like turn it in the quarter and turning out of the turns, you get tight. But when you're in the very center of the uh set of quarters, you're like a little loose. So it was a little bit tricky to be able to try to do anything else without screwing myself or him or anybody else over. So I don't know if I could have done anything different. I just instantly thought of what was the one option that I thought that I could maybe work feasibly and give it a shot, and it just didn't work out, and that's the way it goes.
Well, definitely did. And Caleb, you got anything for a runner-up finisher here tonight?
I don't know if I really have anything else to add other than what's been said, but I can definitely say that was quite the race out there tonight, and Focusado especially. That was quite the battle, like you were talking about. It always seems like whenever you and Focusado start going at it after it, we're in for a spectacular battle. And tonight was absolutely no different. Fantastic job out of there tonight from the both of you, especially there absolutely locking in and perfecting that last pit stop to end up 1-2 and quite far away from the rest of the field. But yeah, like I said, just overall great job out there tonight, my man.
Yep, thank you all.
Well, before we let you cut loose, John, we'll give you the floor to shout out anybody you want. If there's any sponsors you want to thank here on the NESRN airwaves, the floor is yours, my man.
Well, first and foremost, shout out to you and Caleb for broadcasting this race. Shout out to all the drivers that were participating in this race tonight, even if it was the first half was painful, but the second half was fine. But everybody soldiered on, so very happy to see that. And we didn't even have to. Spotters won, weren't available just because of the glitch that happened. But the first half, we had spotters and we had all the cautions. But then in the second half, when we weren't able to have all the spotters, when our spotters were not workable, we had no caution. So I guess the spotters was a problem after all. I don't know. But yeah, shout out to everyone in this race. Shout out to everyone watching at home. Shout out to Team EFR. If you know, you know. And shout out to everyone for making me a better driver.
Well, certainly an incredible display of skill here tonight, and especially with no spotters, racing at a super speedway like this certainly shows that you guys just have an incredible amount of talent here in the Fuel Racing League. But congratulations to you on a runner-up finish, and we'll see you next week at the Under Armour Speedway.
Thank you all.
User was moved out of your channel.
That was Don LaPrade, driver of the number 74 Lazarus Chevrolet SS. And we'll finally get to our winner of tonight's race. As, of course, Ike Durbin photobombing the winning photograph. This race looks a little bit closer than it actually was. But Focusado with a nice 15/100ths of a second win.
User was moved to your
Over
channel.
Don LaPrade, we'll bring him into the broadcast booth here real quick. Congratulations to you, Vincenzo Focusada. Has he got a copy of us in the broadcast booth?
Reads loud and clear, Trey. Good to hear you guys again.
Glad to hear you as well, and you are right back to the top of the heap with your third win of the season coming in the final race, or the first race of the final round, I should say, here at the Fuel Hyperspeedway. But coming into this final three-race set with Taylor Stallworthy and Trek Togger, two guys who played it really consistently all season. You came in with the most amount of wins in this top three, I should say. But at a track that, again, this is a super speedway series, so every race is very similar. But a track like this, with the banking it's got, and just where it's mostly just a fuel mileage race, what's the initial strategy coming into just a beast of a track that Fuel Hyperspeedway is?
We didn't have much of the way in of a race strategy other than to try to leave more space than we feel like is necessary. The self-preservation game is the only tactic we really used because we figured it wouldn't really be much use if we wreck ourselves before we get halfway there. So just give each other room. Don't worry if people lead laps in front of us, and try to pit cleanly because the fuel cells were so small that clean pitting was going to be really important.
Well, it definitely was, and you and Dunn were able to jump right out of the pit stalls on that final pit stop. But going right at the midway point of this race during the whole caution conundrum, you guys were able to finally solve that. But Dunn was telling us that you guys didn't have access to your spotters afterwards from then on until a checkered flag. So what is it like racing with just with no spotter or an unreliable spotter, especially at a super speedway where you guys are in just such close quarters? You and Dunn were on top of one another. You threw Ike into the mix, and you know that he can be a little bit of a hassle. You guys were all on top of one another. Just how do you manage that as a driver?
Um, Honestly, it wasn't so bad, not from my perspective anyway. The engine noises are something that I've always gone off of big time, so just trying to pay attention to where they are in relation to my car, and if I can feel it move from behind to left or from behind to right or something, that's kind of an indication that someone's probably making a move, and I should check that spot in the mirror right now to make sure I don't cut them off. Um, so it wasn't that bad, especially after the green flag pit stop, because it was mostly just me, Dunn, and Ike at that point. So luckily there wasn't a big crowd to worry about losing track of people in. So yeah, luckily it turned out pretty well.
It definitely did. You're able to get your third win of the season, and then those last final 3 laps where Dunn was just dive bombing the corner. He took the lead on you once, but you're able to get it back. You know, what is it like racing with a fellow veteran like Dunn, who you guys have got a couple, maybe about 1,000 hours in this game, if not more? So what is it like just racing with a guy like him, and you guys being able to trust each other to race cleanly enough, race aggressively enough, but also be clean?
Yeah, you said it. It doesn't get better. You said the word trust, and that's the big thing there. I know that first of all, Dunn's a very capable driver. We've all seen how many races that he's won. Um, but the bigger factor is really that he is um, the courtesy of leaving you space and taking care of you and making sure he doesn't put you in a bad spot is always at the forefront of his mind from start to finish. And you can tell that racing with him. So you know that whenever he makes a big move, you won't have to worry about it going sour. If you're in a spot to maybe pull one off on him, you can do the same and you won't have to worry about it. So it allows us to really, I know it's a super speedway tonight, but at tracks that aren't necessarily plate racing, it really allows us to push ourselves to our limits. And even at the super speedways, it allows us to really um, uh, it allows us to get our close quarters about as close as we dare. And it makes for a great time. Whether we finish well or not, it's a blast to race the guy every week. And the same goes for a lot of people on the grid here. This has been a really fun winter racing with everybody.
It definitely was here tonight. Caleb, you got anything for our race winner here in round number 10?
Definitely have to say, yeah, that was quite the race out there tonight, especially you and Don LeBron put up a spectacular battle all the way there until the checkered flag. Those last couple of laps are definitely quite exhilarating, and Trey was talking about. Usually, a lot of people say you got to have a big pack for a great finish and stuff at a super speedway, but that race definitely just proved otherwise. You all put on a spectacular show tonight, and definitely have to give you a huge congratulations on the race win tonight, dude.
Yeah, sometimes all you need is two. But I really appreciate it. It means a lot. And again, it is a plate race, so it really could have gone either way. We do that. We reset that situation again, and Dunn could very well get it. So actually, he has won 2 races this year. So yeah, more might be on the way for him. But either way, thank you guys very much. I really, really appreciate it.
Well, we definitely love having you up here in the booth, and you know the drill. Before we spring you loose, we'll give you the floor to shout out anybody you want. If there's any sponsors you want to thank, the floor is yours, my man.
Hey, you bet. Thank you to Tyler for putting up with a lot of very unusual circumstances tonight with the way the game was functioning. He had to really act on his toes, and it was probably very stressful for him. So I appreciate him doing that for us. Same with Ike and the other admins too. Um, Big shout out to Dunn again, and Taylor and Ike and RJ. Everyone who raced around me did so cleanly all night. And anybody who might be watching, Dad, Cameron, Andrew, um, shout out to Wade. Happy birthday, my guy. Hope it's been a good one. Um, and thank you to you two for bringing us the action again. Glad to have you back for the final few weeks here with us.
Glad to be back as well, and final 2 races of the season, not including tonight, are certainly going to be ones that we'll remember for a long time coming, but congratulations to you, Vincenzo, for winning tonight's race, and go celebrate in victory lane with the guys.
Yeah, will do. Thank you guys once more. Really appreciate it.
You bet.
User was moved out of your channel.
That was Vincenzo Focusato, driver of the number 37 Best Water Technology Mazda 6. Here from Millennium Autosport, winner of round number 10 of tonight's race here at the Fuel Hyperspeedway. And we'll take a look at the point standings as well before we'll get into everything here in a couple of moments. But an incredible race here once again. And Caleb, it is I'm so glad to be back here in the Fuel Racing League. It's been a little bit of a hiatus for us, especially with just how busy I've been. I know you've been really busy, but coming back, even with just 4 competitive cars out there, or 4 competitive cars right at the front, they were still able to put on one whale of a show.
Yeah, absolutely. It's never been more back. It's so great to be back. Of course, I've been kind of busy this off season as well, getting stuff for WNS ready, and honestly, just the holidays in general have been busy along with starting school back up. But yeah, like you said, it feels so good to be back, and this was absolutely a spectacular race to come back to. That was, like I said, really, really fun from start to finish, and I still got 2 more races left to go in the season. Still got a lot more excitement in store, and hoping maybe I might have to get back on track. We'll have to see if I find the time to, but hey, regardless of the fact, it's definitely going to be an exciting 2 races to close out the season, that is for certain.
It definitely is, and before we'll end things off here, we'll get into our final points results before going into the second to final race of the season. Of course, like we said, Vincenzo Focusato, he's going to be the new point leader going into Under Armour. He has got a 4-point lead over Trek Togger. Of course, Focusato leading the most laps here tonight. Togger was able to get them the fastest lap bonus, so a nice bonus point for him, and I believe Stallworthy was also able to lead a couple of different laps. And like Vincenzo said, huge thanks to Tyler Stallhood and Ike Durbin, the 2 league admins here tonight, being able to deal with the game. Again, this is approaching 23-year-old game, so there's always going to be quirks, there's always going to be just weird little things that go on with this product, but it's another reason why we love this game so much, is just how unique it is. But occasionally those flaws do rear their ugly heads at some point. But big credit to both of those guys for being able to weather the storm, think on their feet, and being able to put on a whale of a broadcast, or a whale of a race. And fortunately, that final little stint went caution-free as well, so that certainly helped there. But coming at you in next week's time, we're going to be back here for the Fuel Superspeedway series right here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Penultimate race of the season, live from the Under Armour Speedway, is going to be next Wednesday, January 27th, January 28th, excuse me. So qualifying will begin at 9 o'clock. Race itself will begin around 9:15. Of course, Caleb and I will be on air at around 8:55 Eastern. We'll promise to get on air this time. The Go Live button. It is certainly a point of contention here for for OBS. I'm also kind of a moron, so that gets into the mix as well. But 8:50 pre-race airtime, 9:15 race time here for the penultimate race of the Fuel Superspeedway series. And then after that, we've got the Paris circuit. Same time, this time being on February 4th. But again, tomorrow night at 6:30 Eastern time, we've got the qualifiers for the Roar before the 2.4 for the qualifying session and races here on the North American Sim Racing Network for the first little bit of the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship season. Of course, Friday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. The Mike Star Lemonade 2.4 hours of Daytona. Caleb will see you down in Daytona Beach, Florida for what is going to be a fantastic race that Alex and I are going to call that night. But on behalf of everybody at the North American Sim Racing Network, for Caleb Rose, for Tyler Stallworthy, or for Taylor Stallworthy, for Tyler Stallhood, everybody at the Fuel Racing League. My name is Trey Wright, saying so long from Lynchburg, Tennessee. Congratulations once again to Vincenzo Focusata for winning round number 10 here at the Fuel Hyperspeedway. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, have a great night. We'll see you in the next live stream.